You're seeing all kinds of reporting and stories and YouTube videos about the regret that certain Trump supporters are starting to feel, recognizing that what they thought, what they were bamboozled to believe from the lies of Donald Trump, isn't going to be the case. I ran across this on Blue Sky from the New York Times, and it stopped me in my tracks because it's not just Trump supporters that are going to be caught up in the melee and the harm that is created by Donald Trump. It's not just going to be economic. It's going to be real lives torn apart, families ripped apart. And some Trump supporters cast a vote for the thing that will tear their family apart. This is the post from the New York Times, the caption of which reads, "His family voted to support Trump's deportation plan. That includes him." Quote, "I've never felt like a foreigner until now. His friends and family members in a Georgia town voted for Donald Trump in support of mass deportation. Now he is scrambling to stay in the country." This is Jaime Cachua. I don't know if he goes by Jamie or Jaime. This is a story. If you click on the link, it'll be here in the description of this video. Read this whole thing, or there's a button actually to listen. It's a 27-minute listen if you listen to this article. And so I don't know how fast you read. I'm a slow reader, so it takes me a little longer. What I'm going to read you is just kind of the brief hits in the beginning of this article. It's a conversation between Jamie, and his father-in-law. They live in Marjorie Taylor Greene's congressional district. So these people that they heard Donald Trump for months say, mass deportations, we got to get rid of them, we got to round them up, they're all rapists and drug dealers. All of the lies and propaganda and dehumanizing language used by Donald Trump, they're eating the pets, they're eating the cats and the dogs of the people, he said. People heard that and thought, yeah, I'm for that. They won't go after my family, though. It's like these stories that we heard after 2016 of people who voted for Donald Trump, like a married couple who voted for Donald Trump thinking, oh, no, I'm not going to be deported. That's somebody else. That's a different undocumented immigrant. What did they think? Except in this case, it's the father-in-law who cast a vote that will likely send his son-in-law, married to his daughter, both citizens, not the son-in-law, but the rest of the family, send him to a country he doesn't even know. There's a line in here that I'm not going to quote from, where they talk about his broken Spanish, his rusty Spanish that comes out with a thick Southern drawl. This guy, he's an American. Not by letter. He's lived here his whole life. He has a job. He goes to church. There's a photo in this article. I'll download it and put it up here, where he's at church with his hands extended to the person in front of him. They're obviously praying, like an evangelical type of church. And the father-in-law voted to get him out of the country, to tear apart his family. Here's the article from the New York Times. Again, the headline, "The alienation of Jaime Cachua, his friends and family members in Rome, Georgia, Marjorie Taylor Greene's district, voted to support mass deportation. Now he's scrambling to stay in the country. His wife was spiraling into insomnia and his children were afraid to go to school. So Jaime Cachua sought out the person he trusted most in a crisis. He sat at his kitchen table in rural Georgia across from his father-in-law, Sky Atkins, the family patriarch. Good job, Sky Atkins, you low information fucking rube." And then, look, here's the other thing. This obviously pisses me off. This Sky Atkins is a stupid person. Stupid or sinister are some unholy amalgam of the two. Because when you hear Donald Trump say mass deportation, millions of people have to go, and you think it's not going to be your son-in-law, you're a fucking stupid person. or you're a sinister asshole who doesn't care about the well-being of your daughter's family. Which is it, Sky? Sky Atkins, the family patriarch. Jaime, 33, hadn't seen his own father since he was 10 months old when he left Mexico in a car seat bound for the United States. It was Sky, 45, who had stood by Jaime, at his wedding, helped him move into his first house, and stayed at the hospital overnight when one of Jaime's children was sick with pneumonia. And here's the conversation. "We have to prepare for the worst case scenario," Jaime told him. "There's a chance we could lose everything." Sky responds, "Isn't that a bit dramatic? How? Help me understand. I don't know what use it is explaining this to a stupid person, but let's see what happened." Jaime muted the football game on TV and began to explain his new reality as an undocumented immigrant after the election of Donald Trump, who had won the presidency in part by promising to deport more than 11 million people living in the country illegally. Trump's aides were discussing plans to build detention camps and enlist the military to carry out mass deportations beginning on day one. Their local Georgia Congresswoman, Marjorie Taylor Greene, was saying she couldn't wait to see it happen. Jaime's best chance to become a legal U.S. resident was a new program for immigrants like himself, people who were married to U.S. citizens and had lived in the country for at least 10 years without committing any crimes. But just a few days later, that program had been struck down by a Trump-appointed federal judge. Quote, "There's nothing to stop them from rounding me up once he takes office," Jaime said. Sky had spent much of his adulthood preparing to protect his family in a crisis. He'd learned survival tactics in the Army and had trained in hand-to-hand combat as a Georgia corrections officer. Shocker, he's a prison guard. In the last few years, as he sensed the country becoming more polarized and volatile, he'd built up a small collection of firearms and a cache of emergency supplies. He'd been anticipating a moment when the government might rise up against his family, but this particular crisis was one he'd helped to create. Choice words from the New York Times there, back to the conversation. "I'm going to be straight with you," he told Jaime. "I voted for Trump. I believe in a lot of what he says." "I figured as much," Jaime said. "You and just about everyone else around here." "It's about protecting our rights as a sovereign country," Sky said. "We need to shut down the infiltration on the border. It's not about you. It's not about you," said Sky Atkins, the family patriarch. This is how Jaime responded. "It is about me," Jaime said. "That's the thing I don't understand." And then the article continues for several paragraphs, and they get back to the conversation here. "I've never felt like a foreigner until now," he told Sky. And then Sky responds, "I'm not going to let anything happen that puts your family at risk." Spoiler alert, dipshit, you already did. Marjorie Taylor Greene supporter, you already did. Donald Trump devotee, you already did. You can't take it back or try to hide from it, you coward. "It already did," Jaime said. "All those criminals that Trump's been talking about, the rapists, the gang members, that's not you," Sky said. He had heard Trump say that he would deport the bad guys first and possibly show leniency to immigrants who had been brought to the country as children. "You deserve to be here," Sky said. "To me, you're basically an American." "But I'm not," Jaime said. "To me," says super smart guy Sky Atkins, "you're basically an American. Yet I voted for Donald Trump. I voted to initiate the policy that would tear your family asunder, that would send you packing, deported to a country you know nothing about, that you barely speak the language of, separating you from your children and your wife. Unless, of course, as Donald Trump has said, oh, I don't want to separate families, we'll just deport them all. So unless your wife and children, who very likely don't speak the language of Mexico, Spanish, unless they want to go with you, unless they are prepared to make the ultimate, the most no-win choice, you're going to be deported. And it will be your family who did so. Gleefully at the polling booth, and now, oh, wait, what? I didn't know that would happen. I know Donald Trump said it over and over and over and over and over and promised it again and again and again and again, but I had no idea it would happen. Not you. You're basically an American. If someone is able to muster sympathy for morons like Sky Atkins, please do it in my stead, because I do not have it functionally in me to have sympathy for him. He is a fascist enabler. He's willing, for the sake of Donald Trump, to destroy his own daughter's family. Stupid, sinister, or some combination of the two. Let me know what you think. I'd love to know. You can comment below. You can also call, leave me a voicemail. Tell me how I'm wrong. 714-576-4054. Of course, you can email me, as always, daily at dollemore.com. If you appreciate what I do and you want to help support this work, you want to help produce these videos, click the join button below, become a channel member for $2 a month, or go to my Patreon page, patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. Both those are great ways to help support this work. Follow me on social media. I'm at Dollemore on Blue Sky and elsewhere at Dollemore. I'll see you next time. Be genuine. Take care of one another.